everybody, and welcome to part 2 of the season final of Say It. It's been a long, hard 7 weeks for our contestants as they've battled it out, competing each week and sending in their own takes on monologues, going from contemporary to Shakespearean and jumping into British, comedy and villains along the way. But the final frontier for our contestants was last week's Students' Choice round, where they were in full control of their monologues. Now, in tonight's final episode, a winner will be crowned, and we're checking in with 18 different judges on tonight's panel, including you, our audience, as votes have been coming in all week from across the industry. Now, to kick it all off, let's see what our 3 coaches thought of this week's entries. As this week, me, Mark and Claire made the jump from coaches to judges, having the power to choose our performers of the week and our performers of the season. So here is our picks for the standout performances from Students' Choice Week.
Right boys, we have arrived at the final. Can you believe it? And what an episode that was. I mean, I don't know about you two, but I've been so impressed over the whole 6 weeks, the journey that some of these students have been on. But I think the pièce de résistance was this week, because those pieces stand out a lot. And I believe that our little shout outs we're going to make now also carry 5 points. So a few extra bonus points to bump some of our favourites up the leaderboard, which is all very exciting. So I'm dying to know. My team, I think, were phenomenal this week. I think they all really played to their strengths, and I really didn't have much of a say. I didn't want to have a say in the choices that they made because I wanted it to very much come from them and the skills that they've learned this week over the whole competition. So, Mark, what do you think?
Okay, so I felt like I needed to think a little bit harder this week because there is points at stake. Yes. So I agree. I think your group this week, really interesting choices that they made, and lots and lots of people peaking at the right time. So I think it's a difficult thing to do. So for me, I'd like to say a shout out in your group this week was Caitlin. And I talked about Caitlin last week when we were talking. I mentioned it when I was talking about Little Maddie, and I just think that she's peaked perfectly at the right time. And I think that the piece that she did, I don't know the piece. It's not something I know. But Joe reliably informed me from the Vampire Diaries. But what I loved about it was it had this beautiful shape to it. Mm-hmm. So because we had an extra time, she was able to use that extra time and just to control the monologue and take it up to the right point. And interestingly, I think the actual piece explains Caitlin's journey through the competition. It started quite slow, it started very it was quite thoughtful, and then all of a sudden it kind of gains pace to the point where at the very end she brought this kind of emotion to a head. She was kind of in the tears, and I thought it was great. And what I love about Caitlin is, she's very good with raw emotion. She's very good with the real life characters, and I think that this week she picked up a really good piece, and she just executed it really, really well. A little thing about the prop, I think that she was using a bottle, which I assume she was trying to set something on fire, which I'd kind of figured out later on. And that was slightly distracting. I think, there's a way of, if you are going to bring the prop into the scene, make sure that the prop kind of represents the thing that you're going to do, or it does distract the audience. Mm-hmm. But that being said, even the fact that I thought the bottles wasn't quite fit, that the piece was just so well handled. So I'm glad. I think Caitlin came to a really good place with these pieces. So yeah, for me, 5 bonus points, Caitlin Gibson.
I'm so glad you picked up on that, because I think she is a brilliant example of someone who took that bit of extra time. We were going over a minute or beyond this week, and didn't flop about it. She really filled it to its potential and used that time to grow throughout her piece, which was just wonderful to see. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Joe?
So for me, there was someone in your team who stood out because they kind of raised an interesting topic or challenge which all revolves around whether to take on a known piece or not, I think. And I think there's no right or wrong answer to it necessarily, because taking on an unknown piece can prove just as beneficial or just as detrimental as a well-known one. But I do also think there is an expectation with a well-known one that you've got to really go for it. And interestingly, I'm not too familiar with this person's piece, but I know it's from a huge film. And that was Ava's doing the Fault in Our Stars piece. So Fault in Our Stars, absolutely humongous movie when it came out. And the piece that she produced, I thought, first of all, to have the confidence to take that piece on was really, really special. I mean, it's a complex character with a lot of kind of context to put into the piece, and you don't have to do this full exposition at the start of like, I'm going to play this character and this is what's going on in her life. But you need to know that all that story, I feel, in order to put that into the words that you're going to say. And I just thought she absolutely did that. But she did it in a way where it wasn't obvious that, like, okay, she's saying these lines to the camera, but her brain is absolutely here and it's there and it's all over the place. There was none of that. It was it almost felt quite simple to watch because it just felt really natural. But I also really felt like underneath the water, if she was a swan, it looked really nice on top, but underneath the water there was loads of work, there was loads of prep that had gone into it. But she did this perfect example of, I'm going to do my prep, I'm going to get my piece ready, and the camera started, and I am that character for the next however long this piece is. So it was absolutely Ava all day for me.
And Ava, she actually put so much thought this week. She took that from a few different angles, and she had sort of one further away, one closer. The one that she chose in the end, she said she wanted it to almost have a kind of vlog to video vibe. That was her take on it, and I thought she was so protective about her own ideas and how she was filling that piece with her own twist on something that is very well known, that I'm really proud of her this week.
I think you hit the nail on the head. She is a natural. She's a natural, but like so many young performers, there's a lot of other things going on in their lives and in their heads at that moment. They're very distracted very easily, and yet, like you say, it was very professional, very controlled, without losing an ounce of the emotion that was desired, which was awesome.
Thank you too, good picks.
Right, Joe, so let's come to you. Let's come to you from Bonus Bonus City. What was your take on your group this week?
Well, my week, I feel like I didn't even have to say I'm not going to pick for you guys because I feel like I primed that so they couldn't be bothered asking to get the same response off me. But I feel like everyone picked something that in some way meant something to them, or that in some way stood out for them. And what I was really happy about with my guys is that I feel like all of them went into that final round with a load of integrity. They picked something because they wanted to pick it, not because they felt like it would get them the most points, or they felt like it would be the most impressive. All that stuff is something to consider, but I don't think any of them had it as the be all and end all. So Claire, who from my team was...
So, I'm really excited to talk about this performance, and I'm not sure how known it was that this was an original piece. So my bonus 5 points absolutely goes to Badger, because he wrote the piece that he performed, and I think that's a really bold and brave thing to do, to have such a stake in the content of the performance as well as I'm going to deliver this piece. And actually, we all know that the piece he wrote and produced is not too dissimilar to his own life experiences. He's very open about that. So actually, I knew that piece was coming from a really deep place inside of him, and I think it was really nice to see him use the performing arts and drama and acting and monologue to maybe explore some of those issues that have been going around his head for a very long time. And actually, he portrayed this character that was really vulnerable, really exposed, but he did it in a way that wasn't mockery. It was so sincere, it was performed in earnest, and I just think it was a great job.
I think the great thing about, I've done this job now so long, and I've always found like performances like that of Badgers, or students who have the bravery, the courage to actually share something really personal. We've seen it in solos where someone gets up and sings a song about someone who's passed away or someone who's very close to them, and they do it right there and then. And what they're doing is they're massively exposing themselves, very, very vulnerable, and I feel very privileged. I feel like really privileged to be somehow invited into that situation. And I think Badger, as much over the years as I've tried to help him and support him, one thing I will say about him is he is a brave, bold character, and he'll take those challenges on. And I agree with you. It was like I felt like I was I was somewhere where I shouldn't have been. Like I was just listening to something that was very personal, and I, like you say, I agree with you. You have to admire anyone for that.
I think we all know the best forms of art are created from a place of honesty or truth. Dear Evan Hansen has got an element of it's based off of someone that the writers knew. And my concern when Badger told me he was going to write his own piece was not that it would be honest and not that it would be truthful, but it was that will it also carry the technical skill that is so important with that type of thing, and in that, and the light and shade and contrast. And then he sent over the written piece, and it absolutely had it, especially in the second half.
And such structure. It followed such structure.
And I think that structure allowed him a platform to be honest and be truthful and be emotive, but also be technically well skilled in the piece. So I absolutely thought he did a great job with not only the challenge of picking your own piece, but also constructing it and writing it yourself.
Agreed. So, do you want to know who my bonus points go to?
Absolutely.
So okay, so in your group, again, I talked about it a few weeks ago, I think, earlier on in the competition, and again in terms of your going back to last week, your group were like the RSC, your group last week, the Royal Shakespeare Company. This week I thought this one was outstanding. Again, another complex topic, another really well controlled delivery of something that was difficult, which was Izzy Kenner. And I think the interesting thing with Kenner's piece, and I don't even know if this might even go against her, is her accent was so fluent, it was so convincing. It was hard to actually remember what she actually sounds like in normal life. But she played this piece that had, obviously it was touched on like an eating disorder, and she was talking to somebody who I actually felt that could have been me.
Yeah.
I felt so involved in the piece with her. And I liken Kenner sometimes to I played football with really good players who make what is quite a complicated game look just really easily. And you're looking and a bit like what you were saying about Ava with the serene swan with the legs going underneath, and claiming you both played golf. Good golfers make a very complicated sport.
You make anyone think I can do that, and
look
then you
easy.
think, oh wait, no, we can't.
and he kind of she takes a character, she internalises it. She doesn't work like mad to try and get reaction. Very subtle, clever little things going on. And to be honest, it's yes, she works exceptionally hard, but she's just a talent. And again, she took that this week and made it really interesting, very controlled. Again, just another exceptional piece. So my bonuses go to Kenner. So my group then, because I feel like I'm missing out on the bonuses here. My group, when we pulled out names of a hat, I was very much, I was hoping that, someone was going to do something that was, different and challenging, and I think that this week something peaked at the right time. So I'm keen to know, who are your bonuses going to for this week?
So someone in your group made a very wise choice for me this week, because they picked a piece that was subject matter that is so close to my heart. I just, forgive me for not paying attention to the rest, because Corey, with her piece from Maud from the Suffragette, it's a topic that I have immense interest in, and I just think, we talk a lot as actors about how you have this opportunity to really get inside someone's skin and take an audience on a journey with the piece that you're performing, and I went with her on that journey, and I don't know whether that's just because I have such invested interest in the topic and the theme, or just because her technique was that good, and I like to think it's the latter. But I was there, I forgot where I was for a good 3-4 minutes watching this, because her emotions were so raw, it was so emotive, and the passion and the sensitivity for the piece. I mean, she chose a point in history to explore there that is so integral into the making of who we are and who I am as a girl today. You know, so that really strikes an edge with me, and I just think she delivered it phenomenally. You speak about how Caitlin has really peaked at the right moment in this competition, and I feel exactly the same for Corey. I think she took a while to find her feet. She sort of stuck with the stuff that she was good at, and then bam, Shakespeare week, and this week she just pulled out all the stops, and I was blown away.
Yeah, and she said to me, I want to do something where I cry on, you know, I want to do something that's really emotional. And you know, my first thought was, oh, these can become very overindulgent very quickly, where kids, you know, performers, oh, we're crying, but we're not understanding why we're crying.
Yeah.
But to actually cry, and there was real tears, but not lose it. It was behind this kind of like barrage of kind of hatred and anger, and do you know what I mean? To do that, and for the tears just to be kind of in addition, it was absolutely.
It came from such a place of defiance. It was like an angry cry, an out-eye angry cry. When you're that frustrated, you just sort of can't get out. But then equally, it was just so serene the way, you know, she was saying what she had to say, and those tears were just falling. And I think she just handled it with such respect and such graciousness. It was just.
Do you remember as well that the piece that she did at the start when she did the one from Peaky Blinders, and she was addressing the two gangs?
Yes.
It was like that, but much more accomplished.
Yeah.
And so it showed Corey's kind of trajectory, if you like.
And equally how she found a bit of a niche there, these sort of period kind of pieces, very historical contextually, that she has either decided she's good at, she's interested in, I don't know, but she's rolled with it and improved, and brilliant to see.
Mm-hmm. Right, Joe. So bonus points. I want more.
Well, for me, there wasn't one with historical context, but one that certainly carried a load of connection to current social issues, and I think a social issue that is prevalent in so many communities, in so many situations, especially right now in the modern day. And that was Ben's. Now, I know I've actually shouted Ben out a few weeks ago for his villains piece, which I just think as well was a completely different piece in comparison to this in terms of style and therefore execution. But this piece I just absolutely loved. I think I was able to connect with it personally, and I felt like it resonated with me, and maybe I'm a little bit biased towards that because I felt I could relate to it from my own life and childhood. But there was stuff with Ben's where I thought, yes, first of all, he's playing the Will Smith character from Fresh Prince, but that character that he was playing exists in so many stories, books, TV, film. It's everywhere. So it's a very, very specific archetype where I feel you don't have to have seen the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to almost be familiar with that character, because you'll have seen that character in something else somewhere at some point. So it's a big one to take on, and I just felt Ben hugely understood that character. It felt honest and it felt connected to the piece, and because of all that honesty, it felt like he perfectly embodied that archetype for me, that character. I do think it was a smart selection. He was choosing a young guy, and he's a young guy, and I felt like technically, on a technical level, what he used really well was this element of silence and gap in the scene, or space in the scene, where he was asking these questions to the uncle, who obviously isn't there, but I was watching it almost feeling obliged to answer back because of the way he was delivering them, and you obviously can't, which I think as the audience member makes you feel uncomfortable in the best way possible. So I absolutely loved Ben's execution of that piece. I thought it was so well put together, whilst also being really emotive and really honest.
And he said to me, I want to do a Will Smith piece from the Fresh Prince, and I said, are you doing it as Will Smith or are you doing it as Ben Chain? And he said, I'm doing it as Will Smith, or Will Smith's character with a bit of Ben, which I thought was a nice way of putting it, because it, like you say, it was like, I'm going to take Will Smith's character, all of the ingredients. It was more about what the scene means to Ben, or how he can relate to those moments, and I thought you did a really good job. So that's it, guys. Week 6 completed, done.
So, Akenna, Caitlin, Badger, as well as Corey, Ava and Ben become the first contestants on the leaderboard, picking up 5 points each. And next, we're going to move over to the highly anticipated public vote, which made a surprise appearance in last week's episode. The contestants with the 3 highest numbers of votes will receive an all-important boost in the competition. And in just 5 days, we received over 250 votes as people chose their first, second and third place in the competition. And after totting up all the totals, we can confirm that the votes have been counted and the public's decision is final. Coming in third place in the public vote, with gaining 10 points as a boost in the competition, was the wonderful Corey Hallam. Now in second place, gaining a 20-point boost on the leaderboard, was Team Claire's very own Ava Phillips. But in first place, picking up a huge 30-point boost, it's from Team Mark, Isabel Hutchison, who was 40 people's first place winner, 9 people's second, and 3 people's third. So, well done, Isabel. And as the public vote concludes, we move back to our judges. We still have 14 judges to check in with, all of whom have their own views on who shone in the competition. So let's start off with the first batch, a collection of familiar arts faces who've known the Arts Centre through and through, and they're using their knowledge of our contestants to help them choose which ones really stood out. They're going to choose their first, second and third place. First place earns 15 points, second earns 10 and third earns 5. Now let's see our first batch of judges' thoughts.
Hi guys, so I have my top 3 for our Say It finale. In number 3, I've got Corey. Each week you've gotten better and better, and I've just loved, like especially the last 2 weeks, your Lady Macbeth and your suffragette piece this week. I've just really enjoyed watching them. So you'd be my number 3. And number 2, I've got Holly. Holly's someone who I haven't really seen perform that much, and watching their videos come in, I was just really blown away by how good they were, and I just really liked watching them. So yeah, you would be my number 2. Yeah, and my number 1 would be Kenna. I absolutely loved all the pieces that you've chosen. I loved how you performed them. Your Amy March in week 1 was it's literally one of my favourite monologues, and watching you perform it, you just did it so well. And then this week you did Cassie from Skins, and I've never watched Skins before, but seeing that performance made me want to go and watch Skins. So yeah, so you would be my number 1. But all that said, well done to everyone in the competition. You've all done incredible.
Alright, Arts Centre, how's it going, alright? So, I've been asked to come back again because you can't get enough. Clearly, you can't get enough of Rach McGrath. Ooh, Rach McGrath. You know what I'm saying, you know what I mean. I'm back to do a bit of judging for the Say It competition. It's a very hard decision I've had to make here. I've had to pick my top 3, and to be honest with you, it's been a difficult one because you're all cracking. I means it. You've all been really good this time. You've done a cracking job. Really pulled it out the park in my opinion. But if I had to go with my top 3, I'd say in third place, Kenna Hallam. In second place, I'd go Maddie Bedford. And in first place, I'd go Ava Phillips. But if I could pick all of you, I would. But those are my top 3. So, I hope you all have a cracking time. We'll see who wins. Over and out.
Hi guys, guess who's back? Yes, I am back. You couldn't get rid of me. Unfortunately, I did sign a 3-series contract, so contractually I am obliged to do this, but hey, I'm happy to be here. Yeah. So, I've been asked to have a look at the finale of Say It. Now, Say It, totally different to Sing It, because you say it. It's as simple as that. I've seen some amazing performances in the finale. Now, I've been asked to pick my 3. If it was up to me, I would pick absolutely everyone, because you're all my favourite. Every single one of you. But my top 3, my winners, in third place, Caitlin, Porter, Bimson, amazing performance, well done, much improved, absolutely love it. Second place, actually made me cry. Corey Hallam, well done. Developing into an amazing actress, well done, absolutely love it. And in first place, Ava Phillips. Well done. I cannot believe how much you've grown, how much you've done in this. Well done. Congratulations to everyone. Don't forget, we'll be back soon. See you later. Don't forget, be more like Jamie.
Hey guys, and welcome to my first appearance as a guest judge. Actually rather excited. So I have been asked to give my top 3 for the Say It competition, and after a lot of thought and some re-watching of certain videos and whatnot, I have come to a decision. So I've based my decision on an overarching kind of decision over kind of all 6 and how I feel people have, you know, done through the entire process and not just the final. So in 3rd place for me, and 3rd place is based on someone who I've known an awfully long time, and used to hide in a corner, was very shy, very reluctant to do anything, and has, you know, blossomed and bloomed over the years, and has now become a very, very good performer in everything that she does. My 3rd place is Megan Powell. So well done, Megan. My 2nd place, just based on sheer talent alone, I think she's been absolutely superb every single week, and that is Ava Phillips. And my 1st place, just because I think she's just been absolutely outstanding, and not just because of her age, but the work that she has produced has been phenomenal. And considering the company that she's keeping, I think she's been absolutely outstanding. My 1st place goes to Maddie Barker-Gaskell. So well done to you 3. Well done to everyone that has taken part. I think the standard has been superb. So proud of you all, and can't wait to see you all again very, very soon. Take care, guys.
Hey guys, Joe has asked me to vote for my top 3. So I've watched every week, and I've just finished watching this week's stuff. So my top 3 for overall are these. Number 3, I'm voting for Badger. Every week I've just been pleasantly surprised by what he's put in. A lot of the times, things that we see him do, you know, they're great, but they're quite funny and you know, quirky. But I find with this, he's just really seemed to have took it really seriously, and yeah, I've just been really surprised with what he's done. So he's my number 3. In 2nd, I've put Ben. All of his entries, I feel like he's put a lot of time into, and he's really thought about it. And especially this week, I felt the emotion behind it, and this week really caught me. So Ben, you're 2nd. And 1st, I have got a Kenna, because I feel like she's put a lot of thought into how she's set up, where the camera is, and how she kind of interacts with the camera as well and the audience. So yeah, that's my 1st place. But it was so hard to choose who. I've got about the top 8 or 9 here. But yeah, so well done.
Hi everyone, well done. Thank you so much for those submissions. Absolutely brilliant watching through every single one. Really difficult to pick 3, but I have got to pick 3. So I'll start with 3rd place, which is Lucy. A brilliant performance overall, carefully considered the setting, and also committed to the point where you're even wearing a wig. Absolutely brilliant. Well done, Lucy. 2nd place, I'm going to give this to Rosa. So amazing characterization of Holly. The accent was superb. And I think someone who speaking a British accent, sometimes it can be difficult to pick up on the nuances of different American accents. So it was really, really good to see a variation on that as well. So well done, Rosa. And 1st place would be Corey Hallam. Absolutely brilliant. I was so engrossed in the performance. It was so immersive. And an all-round star performance. The emotion that you were able to display was just amazing. Tear rolling down your cheek and everything. It was spot on. And then that accent was consistent the whole way through, and a very difficult one at that to perform. So well done, Corey, and well done to everybody for everything that you've done, put together and committed to. Absolutely spot on. Thank you. See you soon.
Well, as you saw, our 1st round of judging placed Ava Phillips squarely in the lead, but closely followed by Akenna and then Corey. But can this trio actually make it to the finish line and keep their positions, or will any dark horses creep up behind them? Well, keep on watching because all will be revealed. Now, it's time to head back to me, Mark and Claire, as we select our performers of the season. Now, unlike the rest of our judges, we coaches can't choose our 1, 2, 3. Instead, though, we do have the power to award 15 points to one standout contestant from each of our rival teams. Now, all competition long, we've been watching our fellow coaches work with their teams to carve out the best monologues. And now, we make our decision on which performers were the highlight of the entire season for us. Check it out.
Right, you two, so the last thing we need to comment on before the close of the competition is our favourite from each of the teams for the whole series, which I believe is going to carry a 15-point bonus. Ooh. So I'm dying to know, out of the 6 weeks, I think they've been fabulous, but surely for each of you there is a standout from my team. I want to know why, and I can't wait to hear who it is. Go on, Mark, start with that.
Okay, so I've tried to look, each week there's always been a standout, but I'm obviously looking at it on the whole. I'm looking at someone that I suppose has impressed me week on week, someone that has been out of the comfort zone. So we know that everyone has a comfort zone. We know that some people prefer comedy, some people prefer serious, but it's the way we've kind of structured it is there should be an element of all those things. And you know, which person has kind of embraced the challenge and maybe moved the furthest in the time. I think your groups, there's been so many brilliant performances throughout the week, but I think on the whole, you know, and you know, I have mentioned this kid before, but my bonus points for Claire's group actually go to Little Maddie, MBG, and I've said this a couple of times, and I want to be really clear. This is not about just because she's 6. It's nothing to do with that. Yes, the age plays a factor, but every single week, you know, she has delivered something really, really good, and you can only be as good as you can be. Yes. And as a 6-year-old, she's performing at the top of her game. I think every week, particularly from Peter Pan to Tigger, for the Shakespeare week, she was my shout out. And this week, I feel that she was given extra time. She used the time. She maybe incorporated a prop that I don't know whether she was reading elements of it, but the idea was it was the prop was it's like anything, reading the list, reading the menu, you know, reading a speech. I just thought it was excellent, brilliant expression, great intonation, great understanding that the audience was there, even though sometimes she was glancing down at something. The way she sat on the couch, proud as punch. I think she's grown week on week on week. So for me, you know, my winner, if you like, for your group was Maddie Barker-Gaskell.
Yes, I love that. What about you, Joe?
So for me, I was really interested to consider who has shown some form of real change and who has picked up an element of skill from doing the competition. And so for me, it's Caitlin.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I think it's aided by the fact that I think Caitlin's, for me this week, is the strongest one out of Caitlin's set of performances. But I think back to Caitlin's early entries into the competition, and I think it was already very evident that she had the raw emotion to put into characters. She's, I think, always had that since I've known her anyway. But what I think, in hindsight, those early pieces lacked was any real sense of direction. They had the emotion and they had the character and there was a pitch to it, but and as well there was featured pieces of detail. So like I can recall the Nancy one had a really striking piece of makeup in the red lipstick, but I can also recall around that same kind of time frame, those early weeks, Caitlin's won a school certificate because it was somewhere in the background of her frame. So that stuck in my mind, and that's not on one of those characters. So what's happened over the last couple of weeks, I think, is she's gotten rid of all of those distractions, and the featured details that she has, she's put to use. So things like the lighter and the bottle of water to be gasoline, and I don't think that whole skill set is the finished article, because I don't think it can ever really become the finished article in 6 weeks. But I think all of those pieces from the last 3 weeks certainly are so much more considered, right down to things like, I liked how she'd paid homage to the character from the show that she pulled this week's from, and gone for a very similar costume choice and recreated some of the movements, because it just showed me she'd really considered all of those things rather than just going into it with a really emotional piece. And I thought that detail helped sculpt it for her.
And I think the Caitlin thing for me, what I've noticed with Caitlin is she took a little bit longer to, like, she's brilliant when the audience is live, and it took her some time to start to not perform for a camera or for an audience, but to actually perform as that character in that moment. And I think that is what Caitlin, once the penny dropped, the talent that she does have, we've started to see.
It took her a while to find her feet, but I'm so proud that she stuck with it, because actually as soon as she got comfortable and she realised, oh, I know what I'm doing now, it was just, she went from strength to strength.
And I think we all know Caitlin well enough to know that she was probably in her own head for a lot of that early on. Is it comfortable? Is it? And like you say, overcoming that, particularly playing one of the lead roles in the senior show, it's like that's going to be so vital. Is that skill?
And I think that's something that excites me about Caitlin as well, is coming back into the show when we reopen, bringing in that attention to detail and keenness to keep that detail.
And resilience, just to do that.
Awesome, thanks guys.
Okay, so Joe, we're moving to yours.
Okay, yeah, so my guys, who I think have all had their own kind of journeys and have struggled at different parts in different weeks and really excelled at different parts. But Claire, starting with you then, who would have been your standout?
So I really want to shine a light on someone who I'm a huge fan of, because she's such a brave performer. You know, she's picked 6 really bold pieces across the 6 weeks, and we've seen her play characters across the widest range of spectrums, and she does them all with such love, and that is a Kenna. I think as a performer, you know, she is so gutsy. She is not afraid to tackle any character that she can get her teeth into. And I know there's been some feedback along the way of, you know, should she try and play characters more her age and play more to her visual and physical strengths, and I'm all for that, but I also so admire the fact that she is not afraid to play anything from a former Queen of England to, you know, a really sensitive topic of a teenager with an eating disorder, and play them all with such respect and integrity. I just think she plays her characters they come from such a sense of love, and, you know, you can see that passion oozing out of her when she performs. She's such natural to the camera, and it's just been a joy to watch her.
I think with Kenna as well, all of her pieces and her style are a bit Marmite, and some people will really like them. Some people, it will just not be for them, but I think she's done well to stick to that and not buckle to the pressure of going with something that is maybe expected, and so I think she's done really well to keep that consistency.
I think we talk about, you know, performers or musicians or artists about being authentic, and about Kenna is very authentic. She's very she's very her, you know, and she has her own style and her own way and her own method, and I think that has been, like you say, she stayed true, I think, to herself, definitely. So mine, in your group, Joe, I was kind of between a couple, but I look at this like a bit of a 6-point star, and I wanted someone. My choice was really about someone that was going to go to 6 very different challenges, and someone that was going to go to the point of all of those 6 stars, not just hover around the middle or doing things that are very similar, but really go out of the way to explore those different fields. And that was Molly. That was Molly for me. And I think, you know, Claire, you said something at the beginning of all of this where you said that the expectation for Molly maybe is going to be a bit of a burden. She's the oldest. She's one of the most experienced, certainly in life, being the oldest. But I think that Molly every week has gone to the peak of the challenge. You know, and that's what I loved about Molly. Ever since I've known her, you know, she's such a courageous performer, courageous person. You know, she's got a great character, and she just jumps feet first, head first, doing like a bomb into every single challenge that she's being given. So I think about back to Bellatrix. Never seen that character before. Amazing piece of character work. Then the following week, nothing at all. It was a brilliant Shakespearean classical piece where she just looked directly at the camera. And each week there's been she did comedy really well. She finished with a very niche piece, and maybe too niche for an audience. I'm not too sure, but no doubt that it was done really, really well. So for me, it was, as a whole, 6 excellent pieces from a very, very, as I say, courageous and very talented performer.
I think what's worth saying about Molly as well, and no one else seen this other than her teammates, is that she's carried herself through the entire competition with a load of class. Like on Zooms on Saturdays, helping contestants who, she's in a competition against technically, but she hasn't cared. She's helped and supported them, and has been a real right-hand man to me, supporting them in the competition. So I think to have her be one of the 2 that you guys shout out, I think is more than deserved for her.
Yeah, and we wish Molly all the very best. And she's she's doing some drama school auditions and stuff. She'll have no problem, because she's that character, you think. I meet you and I think there's something about you that I really like, and we wish her all the best. So, on to my group. So my group, as I say, at the start of it, and we'd be laughing when we pulled these kind of kids out of the hat, and I felt very comfortable, because I felt that what we had was a really group of solid, no nonsense, no fuss, hard working performers. And I wondered how whether they could adapt each week to the different challenges. And I have to say, I think they've all grown massively in the competition. They have been easy to work with, but there's been some really, really outstanding performances. So Claire, let me come to you. Who's top of your list in my group?
So my standout over the past 6 weeks for your team has been someone I've flown the flag for them before in one of our little chats, and I've said it once and I'll say it again, that I've been so incredibly impressed with the way this young girl has approached her tapes as a package, and that is Izzy. So the way that Izzy approaches each monologue with, she's not just thinking about the words and the character, she's thinking about the production value, she's thinking about the costume, she's thinking about so many things, the way she frames it, that as one creative person to another has just impressed me no end. I think she's given such thought to all aspects of these pieces that she's put together, and that has been so consistent all the way through. I don't feel like, and to be fair, I can say this about everyone in your team, I don't feel like there's been many off weeks. I feel like they've consistently risen to the challenge, and sure, they've all had their strengths, but I just think Izzy, one of the younger members of the competition, yet she is up there with the best of them for her attack, her feistiness, her attitude. And we were talking about her piece this week, the song lyrics from Hamilton, and actually how difficult a concept that is, to take some song lyrics that everyone knows, it has a very bespoke rhythm, yet she knocked it out of rhythm, changed the accent, and made it relevant and contextual to the piece she was performing to the mirror, which I thought for her age was just, and I hate using the concept, for their age but it was just absolutely fabulous. I think she's really shone through this competition with a really quirky mix of characters, and I've just absolutely enjoyed everything she's produced.
And I think the great thing about Izzy, like you say, and other kids, but Izzy, like, she has, we said about Ikenna being authentic, Izzy has a very specific idea about something that she wants to do, and sometimes you think, oh, okay, that sounds a bit, but it's she doesn't swim with the stream. Yeah. She always wants to go in a different direction, and I think that's, to have the courage to do that and have the creativity to do that, I think is such a sort of ace in the pack that you can play at some point. So that's great. I love that. Joe, what about you?
So for me, I think sometimes when we are so busy in our usual sessions, that it is almost forgivable that everyone, to a degree, even if it's the smallest degree, amalgamates into very similar people, because you're working around everyone so often, and you are acting, especially as seniors in that group, you are acting together so often. And my standout for the competition from your team is one of those seniors who I think has for me, carved their own very specific niche in this competition, and I didn't see it as much in the other two that we've had, in the dance one or the singing one, but really felt I have in this one, and that is Corey. I think that everything that she's produced has been good and has been of a good standard, but then just particularly, especially towards the end, there was these moments of like real sparkle to them that I thought other people have a sparkle as well, but no one has got the exact same. I thought Corey's has become very, very Corey, and I feel like in this competition she has shown who she is as a performer. There's a running thing of something that's a little bit period, someone that's very empowered and very strong, and she's got that again and again and again. It makes me really excited to see her in Once on This Island, in the particular character that she's playing, and I really hope, and I'm sure she will, she takes the essence of so many of the characters that she's played in the last 6 weeks and brings them into that piece, because I think it'll just make it astonishingly good. Mm-hmm. But I just felt particularly, she was great in this last one, and I absolutely adored the last performance that she gave. But I think this has been a real moment of Corey's where I thought, well, she's really stood out amongst the rest for her own thing. So she's my winner from your team.
And I think with Corey, she's been Dancer of the Year. We know she's a fantastic singer, but that's what I've loved. I've loved working with Corey. I've watched oh wow, Corey's an actor and a very good one, Yeah. So that this competition, if nothing else, has really shone a light on maybe a side of that we don't concentrate on maybe enough in terms of that. Get away with the musical theatre, get away with the singing, get away with the movement, the dance. Let's just look at acting straight, and I think she's brilliant.
I feel like for as many musical theatre songs, for instance, that I've heard Corey sing, such a huge percentage of who I now feel like I understand Corey to be as an artist, I've gotten from the last 6 weeks, rather than the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Amazing. So that brings our job to a close.
Conclusion.
May the best coach win. May the best student win.
As long as it's not Jamie.
So, those were our standouts of the season, which has shaken up the leaderboard even more, as Molly, Maddie Barker-Gaskell, Akenna, Izzy, Caitlin and Corey all received 15 points from that round. Now, the familiar faces of judges gets fewer and fewer, as the final judges have the power to select their top 3 performers. And once again, top place gets 15 points, second gets 10, and third gets 5. So make sure to watch live as the leaderboard continues to change. We're kicking off the next round of judging are 3 brilliant industry pros with a great history with the arts family. So here they are: Arts Centre's head of film Joshua Gwynn, drama specialist and regular member on the arts audition panels Sophie Gunyon, and returning from Sing It and Move It, it's West End performer and drama school graduate Ellie Clayton.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all keeping well in these strange COVID times that we've got. Hopefully the end is in sight and we can get back to some kind of normality later this year. But in the meantime, I was honoured to be invited on the guest panel to watch your monologues. And I've got to say the overall standard was breathtaking. And I'm not saying that to sound melodramatic, but I can't believe how much work you've all put into it. So choosing the top 3 has been really difficult. But with that being said, I have to choose a top 3. So, in number 3, Molly. Molly did a monologue performance called Coffee Table. I'm watching her in this monologue of Coffee Table. It was brilliant. From the get-go, she was just so intriguing. Number 2, Badger. Wow, performing I Didn't Ask to Be Born. Literally speechless. It was incredible. I was glued to the screen from the get-go, and then that leaves me to the number 1. The number 1 I've had to watch a couple of times, not to kind of pick it apart or anything like that, but just to admire it again. And that is Corey. So Corey did a monologue from Suffragette, playing Maud, and yeah, it completely captured the character for me. She made it her own, she took it on a journey. It got to the point where I wasn't merely listening to you, Corey, I was journeying with you on your emotions. Do you know what I mean? I actually connected with the struggles. I felt the feelings and frustrations of sexism that you were trying to portray. Yeah, I don't really think I have any notes on it. I think it was absolutely top. So well done. Take care, stay safe, and well done again. Absolutely fantastic. Bye now.
Well done everyone, it was a really good standard, so hard to choose just 3. I've changed my mind loads, but I'm going number 3, Akana, number 2, Ava, and number 1, Corey. But well done everyone, really, really good.
Hi Arts, it's me, Ellie, back again, judging your competition this week. First of all, I would just like to say well done, all of your monologues were brilliant, but I have picked my top 3, so I'm going to explain why as well. So in 3rd place, I have Maddie. So I love your monologue, I love the film as well. This sounds so strange, but sometimes when people act, they do like a different voice, and you really used your own voice, although you were doing an American accent, which is fine. You used your own voice and it was really like grounded and connected. I feel like you really understood everything that you were saying, and you were using like your like personal emotions and really connected with me, and it was like you were just talking as well. I really like that. So yeah, well done Maddie, I thought it was really, really good. And in 2nd place I have a Kenny. I thought you were incredible. I've never seen this series from that the monologue was from, but you made me want to see it. It was really good. I knew what you were talking about though, and it's such a great thing to do a monologue about. You were so, again, you were saying it like you were just talking to me, and that's the best acting, I think, when it's so natural and conversational. I think that is good acting to me, when it feels like these are your words and it's coming from you, not from the character. So I really, really like that. And I don't know if it was supposed to be a little bit funny, but you were quite witty and quite charming with it as well, like Kenny. So yeah, well done. I really, really like that. And in 1st place, I have Corey, because honestly, I thought you were outstanding. I love the film as well, Suffragette the film. It's such a powerful, powerful movie, and such a great feminist monologue to do as well. You did a different accent, and I don't mind people doing a different accent as long as you can do it well, and you really did do it well, and you connected to it. It was so grounded and so powerful. You used so much emotion. At the end, oh my gosh, I was tearing up with you. But yeah, it was incredible, and a really great choice of monologue. So well done guys, and yeah, congratulations. Keep up the good work everyone, and hopefully I will see you soon. So well done again. I'll speak to you soon.
Josh, Sophie and Ellie had the tough job of choosing their top 3, and they've shaken up the leaderboard once again, meaning the fates of our contestants are almost sealed. But the final round of judging could still shift their places. Well, making that decision is going to be our 5 promised and long-awaited returning guest coaches. These industry experts have been supporting the contestants throughout the competition, passing on their advice in episodes as well as on the Say It podcast. Now, keen listeners of the podcast will have heard exactly what many of these judges are looking for. But the question is, in the end, who will have managed to stand out from the crowd in the eyes of our final 5? Well, let's take a look. Returning to judge the competition, we have Alra Drama School graduate and director of Ignite Film, Paul Woodward, professional talent agent Nicola Bolton, performer, producer and director extraordinaire Sammy Robinson, the Dean of the Academy of Live and Recorded Arts, Chris Hill, and returning from the Say It podcast, it's Romeo and Juliet's very own Juliet, Emily Redpath.
Hi guys, hope you're all well. What can I say? The bar has been raised yet again. You absolutely astonished me how week on week you can do this and just keep getting better. Genuinely really tough. I had 8 names down. I juggled you around for about 2-3 hours, but ultimately I came to the decision what was probably more based on personal taste. Talent was phenomenal. So in 3rd place it's Molly, in 2nd place Liv, and in 1st place Ikenna. Once again guys, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I can't wait to see what you've got to show me in the coming weeks and months and the rest of this year. Thanks guys.
Hi guys, I hope you're well. I've just watched all of your tapes. Well done. Oh, it's so tough to try and decide, and it's all about sort of just a personal choice, isn't it? Really, it's nothing. It's just what you feel when you're watching them. So here goes. I'm just going to go through a few people. So Team Joe, brilliant across the board. Special mentions to Abby, Badger, Team Claire, Ava and Maddie, yeah, great, and Team Mark, again, loved everybody. Megan was great, Liv was great. My top 3 are in reverse order, and tough, very tough to decide this. So number 3, I've gone for Rose. Breakfast at Tiffany's. I just thought that you embodied the character. It was like it's an old-fashioned way of talking. It's very period. You got all of that. The accent was fab, and you also, you looked so sophisticated. So well done, Rose. That's my number 3. My number 2 is Molly with Coffee Table. Great change of pace. Funny, and then you snapped it to serious. You had energy, you were very dynamic. I think that's self-written, is it? So well done on that as well. Always good. And my number 1 is Corey with the suffragette piece. Sorry, just yeah, the suffragette piece. Very emotional. Yeah, I really got affected by that. I really felt it. You know, doing monologues is all about telling a story and getting your emotion across, and that's totally what you've done. So that's my top person. But well done, everybody. That was so difficult. Keep going.
Hi everyone at the Arts and in the Say It competition. I'm Sam, calling in from Edinburgh with my 3 top choices, which were really hard to come by because you were all fantastic this week. So in 3rd place for me, it is Caitlin. In 2nd place was Corey, and in 1st place was Molly with Coffee Table. But I'd just like to say well done everyone. Have a great night and good luck.
Firstly, thank you to everybody who submitted a video. Choosing 3 out of such an incredible range of work was truly one of the most difficult things I've done. And so in reverse order, here are my top 3. So in 3rd place is Corey reading a piece from Suffragette. I just thought there's an incredible strength to this piece that you really matched in your performance. It was wonderful. And in 2nd place, I have Ava reading a piece from The Fault in Our Stars. I thought there was an incredible subtlety here, a real sense of the characters changing thoughts, and also just really using the camera really well, finding thoughts in different places, which was really engaging. And then my 1st place is Molly performing the piece about the coffee table. I just thought it was really well judged, really incredible balance of both the character understanding the ridiculousness of what she's saying, but also taking on the fact that she's had this quite difficult thing happen to her, and that she feels something really clear inside that's counter to the logical. And I just thought it had a great atmosphere and was really engaging. So congratulations.
Hi there, thank you for making me a judge. I had such a great time watching all of your videos. Everyone had such great energy in the speeches where they just had great choices, so thank you. But for my 1st, 2nd and 3rd, In third place, I have Molly with Coffee Table. The journey that you chose for the character captivated me from the start. You had just a wonderful energy, and I could see exactly what you were seeing with this monster coffee table, so thank you. In second place, I have Lucy with Mel. You have a great voice, you have a lovely energy, and you just had such a great understanding of that piece, and it was lovely to watch, so thank you. And in first place, I have Corey with Maud. The speech was brilliant, and you performed it so well. The vulnerability and power you gave that character was inspirational, and it was such a pleasure to watch. So thank you so much, Corey. But well done, everyone. I hope you're keeping safe, and thank you again.
And there you have it. A wonderful win for the brilliant Corey Hallam, who becomes our Say It champion. Let's take a look at her winning monologue from week 6 of Student's Choice, where she plays Maud from The Suffragette.
Thought about your offer, and I have to say no. You see, I find I am a suffragette after all. You told me no one listens to girls like me. Well, I can't have that anymore. All my life I've been respectful, done what men told me. I know better now. I'm worth no more, no less than you. Mrs. Pankhurst once said that if there's a right for men to fight for their freedom, there's a right for women to fight for theirs. If the law says I can't see my son, I will fight to change that law. We're both foot soldiers in our own way, both fighting for our cause. I won't betray mine. Would you betray yours? If you thought I would, then you were wrong about me. What gave you the right to stand in the middle of a riot and watch women getting beaten and do nothing? You're a hypocrite. The law means nothing to me. I've had no say in making the law. We break windows, we burn things, because war is the only language men listen to. Because you've beaten us and betrayed us and there's nothing else left. What are you going to do? Lock us all up? We're half the human race, you can't stop us all. We will win.
Corey, a huge congratulations on a thoroughly well-deserved win. Not to mention another round of congratulations to all of our runners-up in the competition and every single contestant who took part. In Lockdown 3, it would have just been so easy to do nothing. But every performer who sent in a video, especially those who've reached the final of the competition, have truly proven that nothing can stop the arts actors. And I know I speak for all 3 of us coaches when I say how proud of our teams we are. Well, you might ask, what's next? And for our Say It champion, Corey, she will be picking up her custom crafted trophy on the first session back after lockdown, along with our Move It champion from Christmas, Megan Powell. And for the Say It team, we'll be turning our attention onto the long-awaited return of arts sessions. But that isn't to say we don't have a few more tricks up our sleeve related to Say It. But to find out more about them, you'll have to keep your eyes peeled. Anyway, a massive thank you on behalf of the entire Arts Centre to our judges and guests who've just been instrumental in making this competition what it is. And also a huge thank you to all of you at home who've tuned in each week, not just to say it, but to move it and sing it as well. And a huge thank you one last time to all of our contestants. Well guys, make sure you tune in to tomorrow's live streamed virtual awards night because it is not one that you want to miss. But until then, that's everything from me. So have a great evening, and for the last time in lockdown, fingers crossed, see you all soon. Bye bye.